What's going on, guys? It is April 26th, 2020, which means we are right in the middle of all this coronavirus pandemic stuff going on. Everybody's quarantined and stuck at home. So for this video, what I wanted to do is show you my 6 favorite bodyweight exercises for all athletes. Now, before we get started, what I wanted to do is give an honorable mention to the pull-up. I love pull-ups and they're definitely one of my favorite bodyweight exercises. But for this video, what I wanted to do was make it completely equipmentless so that no matter what, any athlete can get these movements done. So if you have a pull-up bar, definitely keep going, but it's not going to be in this video. The first one I want to talk about is push-ups, all right? I don't think it's any surprise that in a bodyweight exercise video, we're talking about push-ups, all right? But what I wanted to do is talk about push-up variations in detail a little bit more. So if you're somebody who really kind of struggles with push-ups, you can't do one or can't do a few in a row, I just want you to worry about working on the regular push-up, start building that up, and then start adding in some of these variations, okay? So especially for my athletes out there that might be able to do a lot of push-ups, these variations are going to be pretty good for you. The first one I want to talk about is a plyo push-up, okay? This is going to work on a little bit more explosiveness in our upper body if we play a sport where we need to push somebody off. Soccer, hockey, wrestling, football, something along those lines, all right? We can't get a barbell in our hands. This is going to be a really good way to still get maximum effort out of our chest and shoulders, all right? Another one is going to be real simple. You're just going to grab a couple books, stack them up, and we're going to do deficit push-ups, all right? It's just going to add a little bit more range of motion, something that you may not be getting that you can usually maybe get benching with dumbbells, but it's going to be a really good way if we don't have those available to kind of get that extra stretch in there, little extra range of motion, something that you aren't going to be hitting with regular push-ups, all right? The other one is going to be a decline push-up. So you're going to get your feet elevated onto a chair, couch. It doesn't really matter what it is. Get your feet elevated on something and do your push-ups that way. This will be a little bit more concentrated in the shoulders. Again, it's just another variation and another way to get some push-ups in, making it a little bit harder. And in this case, working on our shoulders just a little more. So the second one I wanted to talk about is a jump squat. I'm talking bottom of the squat, springing up out of that squat as high as I possibly can. What I tell people when doing these is getting your head to the ceiling. So this is very similar to our plyo push-up. We were trying to get the most out of our chest and shoulders on a movement. Now we're just doing the same thing with our legs, all right? We want our legs working in that maximum effort type of situation where they have to do as much possible work as they can. Doing 1,000 air squats isn't really going to do that. So jump squats going to be our best bet to maybe try and mimic some sort of heavy weights when we don't have any access to it. It's also going to be a really good way to make sure we're working on our explosiveness and our power. All right, so the third exercise on this list is going to be a single leg glute bridge. Now I picked this exercise for 3 reasons. The first one is it's a unilateral movement. So we're doing it on one side. Every sport is pretty much unilaterally dominant. So we want to be able to train unilaterally so we can transfer that into our sport. The second reason, again, going back to unilateral stuff, is sports kind of really overemphasize one motion, and one side of our body tends to get stronger than the other. So doing a unilateral movement like a single leg glute bridge will help us balance out our body so we can prevent injury the best that we can. Now the third one is probably the most important. The reason I picked that is it emphasizes the glutes and our hamstrings, which are probably, in my opinion at least, the most important muscles in the body when it comes to athletics. They're really going to make us strong and explosive, which pretty much every sport that's going to be a benefit. It's really hard to hit your glutes and hamstrings if you are not doing a glute bridge without any sort of equipment. So that's why I wanted to put that in there as opposed to like a lunge or a split squat or something along those lines. There isn't much glute and hamstring work that we can do without any sort of weight. So I wanted to put the single leg glute bridge in there. I think it's a super important movement. Even if you don't have equipment, or even if you do have equipment, it's something you should be doing. All right, fourth one, V-ups. I'm going to keep this one pretty short. I think we all know at this point that we do need to be getting core work in there to be a good athlete. The reason I picked V-ups as opposed to sit-ups, so if you've worked with me personally, you know I love sit-ups. I give them to everybody all the time. I think all athletes should be hitting sit-ups consistently every single day. Now, the reason I picked V-ups is because of the progression in which you can work towards them. So most athletes, even if you don't have the strongest core, could drop down and bang out 100 sit-ups. It might be pretty tough for them, but we're going to get to the point where we can do that pretty efficiently, pretty quick. Now, V-ups are going to be a different story. You may be able to do 100 sit-ups in a row without stopping. You might only be able to do like 5 or 10 V-ups in a row. There's a lot more progress that can be made with V-ups. So instead of just dropping down and doing 100 sit-ups and maybe getting sick of that, I like V-ups a little bit better because, again, there's going to be a lot more measurable progress because they're pretty hard. So we can slowly start to see some progress in those as opposed to just doing 100 sit-ups all the time. So the fifth exercise on this list is probably going to be everybody's least favorite, the wall sit. Just like our jump squat, wall sits are going to be a really good opportunity for us to get that maximum level contraction out of our lower body. Again, we don't have any weights, so we're trying to figure out ways that we can make sure our legs are working as hard as they possibly can. Wall sits are going to be able to do that for us. Good thing about them too is since they're an isometric contraction, which means you're just holding like a plank, the muscles aren't actually moving and ripping and damaging themselves. So as much as your legs might shake when you're doing a wall sit, you're really not going to be that sore from them for the most part, so you should be able to do them pretty consistently. So we're going to round off the list with my personal favorite. That's number 6, sprints. One of the questions I get asked the most from athletes is, how do I get faster? If I don't have access to equipment, it's pretty straightforward. Get out there and sprint. Even if you do have access to equipment, you're not going to find many exercises that are going to hit the entirety of your legs quite like sprints. Strength, explosiveness, and of course, speed like we just talked about. If you can, try and find a hill to sprint up. It's going to take a little bit of the pressure off. Sprints can be pretty aggressive on the body, so that's going to take away some of the impact if you can get. If you can find a hill, let's try and sprint up that. If not, still hit those sprints, get outside there, and go. So those are my 6 favorite bodyweight exercises for all athletes. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like this type of content, then be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date for when I release a video, okay? And be sure to follow me on other channels, and I'll see you guys next time.